Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 769. Now, into today's episode, we're talking about self-sabotage. Now, I'm sure you know what self-sabotage is, but I think it is important just to have like a brief, what is it? Well, ultimately, you're stopping yourself to achieve your goals and dreams, no matter how beneficial those goals and dreams are, where your life would absolutely transform if you were to achieve those goals and dreams. There's a part of you on the inside which sabotages your success. So that's what we're going to be breaking down in this episode. And it will just mean that we can understand it and consider what we have to do in order to be free of self-sabotage. There's going to be reasons, there's going to be stories that we tell ourselves, there's going to be unconscious programs in our neurology, in other words, which are going to trip us up at every corner if we have goals and dreams. And that's what I want to talk about and see what we can do to be able to shift that experience. Now, before we go into the episode, I would like just to take a few moments for the following ad, because it means it's supporting the show. Of course, if you listen to this on a podcast, I wouldn't like you to skip it, but I understand. But if you don't skip it, it means you're supporting us on our journey in helping more and more people. The more that we can invest in time, in reaching people, in making the quality better, then go ahead and take a moment to listen to this ad. Are you ready to transform your life in the most amazing way? If so, go ahead and download my free hypnosis app, where you can listen to hundreds of free coaching and hypnosis audios at your convenience on your phone. Create your own hypnosis sessions. That's right, all custom and tailored to your needs. Listen to hundreds of hypnosis sessions. Truly transformational, where you can transform in the day, and also, of course, you can transform as you go to sleep by toggling over the sunshine to the moon, and it will guide you off to sleep effortlessly. And of course, please go ahead and share the love and rate and review the app, because it just means we can help and support more people in the world, and we need it so much right now. You make the difference by leaving a review. Just go to your app store, type in Hypnosis with Joseph Clough, and leave your review. I appreciate you, and thank you for listening to this message. So with that, let's get into the real details. We know what self-sabotage is. But why would our brain, the biology of us, begin to sabotage our goals and dreams when we know full well and good that having more money in abundance, increasing or getting better at your career, being a better partner in a relationship, why on earth would that part of us feel like we should be self-sabotaging it? Like, that makes zero sense, right? As to why our body, our mind, our unconscious mind would want to trip us up despite all the good and great things when it comes to achieving success. And I don't know what that is for you, whether it is monetary. So in other words, if you want to earn 10 grand a month, 30 grand, 100 grand, 150 grand a month, or whether it's getting better at relationships, therefore you're not attracting the wrong person because we're self-sabotaging, or whether it be your career. It could be in any situation. But let's break down as to why the unconscious mind does this. And we can attack it at different angles. Now, number one, although it is doing this self-sabotaging behavior, we don't want to hate upon it, because the action in itself, like sabotaging anything, if we just think of not the self, but just generally the word sabotage, we're trying to break something, we're trying to stop something. And you don't really see good things in the news when you hear the words, there was a sabotage. But in the case of self-sabotage specifically, our body does this, our unconscious mind does this in the attempt to protect you. Doesn't make sense, because it doesn't really protect us, right? But intentionally, not the behaviors, just put the behavior to one side for a moment. The intention of self-sabotage is trying to stop you achieve that thing in the fear of the potentiality, usually, of it going wrong. In other words, if I go for this, what if I fail? What if I look silly? What if I trip up? What if I have another bad relationship? What if I have the fear of success, the fear of failure, the fear of not being enough to complete that task, that goal or dream, not feeling worthy to achieve it? So your unconscious mind just like sabotages you left, right, and center with the intention to stop you from getting hurt. Now that's good news in a way, right? We now know that our body, our unconscious mind, isn't doing it on purpose for malicious reasons. It's not doing it to be able to really hurt you. It's just trying to keep you safe. Now, sometimes that will mean being in your comfort zone. That could be not going out, not going for that job interview, not starting out your business or growing your business, not going for relationships, or staying in the same bad relationship in the fear that we're not worthy or deserving to have anything even better than that. So our unconscious mind is trying to intentionally protect us from achieving those things in order to keep you safe. That's one level we can really think about. Now, why does it have that level? Why does it have that mindset? Well, as always, like most of my episodes, we've got to think about the identity of self. It could be from our ego, that part of us, and there's lots of different explanations of what ego is, but it could be that primal part of us of wanting the same old thing. Just protect. Don't go out there and do all those things. I just need to protect you. That our brain of us, the first brain, and ultimately is just trying to do whatever it can to really, really protect you and keep you safe in every single way. And that comes down to our identity of who we see ourselves in the world. Like, if you have the belief system, now the belief system I purposely let go of within myself, and my business is designed for this, is that belief must usually come around with like the belief of, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not of value. I'm not deserving. You see, if you have that identity, like I said, that's the one I really let go of quick. That will make you feel like that goal and dream that you want is just out of your capacity. It's just out of your ability, your capacity to achieve in any single way. That one identity. Now I say one identity, it is huge. It is how you see everything. We're not just talking about one thing in one environment now. We're not talking about a behavior. We're not even talking about an emotion like anger, sadness, fear, guilt, hurt, shame, all of those things. We're talking about how you unconsciously perceive yourself, where you place yourself in this world, how you compare yourself to others, how you compare yourself to what is possible and what is so-called impossible, based on the identity of how your unconscious mind sees you. And the reason why I say how the unconscious mind sees you is because your unconscious mind runs your belief systems. It absolutely runs your beliefs. Otherwise, you'd let it go by now. Pretty simple, right? If you could click your fingers consciously and let go of that limiting belief, and therefore let go of the fear of failure, the fear of the self-sabotage within itself, you'd click your fingers and let it go. Now, if you cannot do it, it must mean the unconscious mind is running it. So now we've got to consider, well, how did we get to the conclusion that we're not worthy, deserving, or enough, or some kind of identity which creates a self-sabotage? Well, only one way, because when we came into this world, you weren't going, oh my goodness, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving to be here. I'm sure that wasn't the case as a baby. Therefore, it comes through time. And in time, there is experience. And based on the quality of your experiences will be based on the quality of your self-identity. Now, that can be based on what people have told you, what people have done to you. It could be socially experiences, what would be the word for that? But the economy experiences, how we observed the world growing up, who we modeled, how we were imprinted upon based on our environment. So we've got that nature and nurture. I don't think it's in our nature to believe we're not deserving. I think it's our birthright to know that we're enough. So therefore, through the nurturing, that would be based on how we go through life, the experiences we have, the modeling, the imprinting, the things which happen to us, we come up with certain conclusions about who we are. Let's just say you were at school and then your teacher said, look, you're not good enough. That's not enough. Or maybe your parents had these high standards of success that you had to be a certain way. Maybe they had a favorite child and that child wasn't you, so you never felt like you could live up to their expectations. Maybe it was when we were very young and maybe our best friend said something mean to us. Maybe someone did something to us. And it can go throughout our teenage years, of course. And even as an adult, it could happen last week, ultimately, if you go through a specific, significant emotional event where you come to the conclusion that must mean, think of those words I'm saying here, this happened to me, and therefore it means I am not enough, right? That's a simple equation. That's how our body works. It draws conclusions based on your experience and your ability to deal with that experience. Now, of course, when we're very, very young, we didn't have the resources to be able to think differently. I'm sure even if we were under a lot of significant stress now as an adult, we don't make good decisions under stress. So let alone as a little baby or a child or a teenager, young adult, where our brain hasn't formulated to its capacity or grown to the level it was meant to be, we did not have the resources to choose differently. So therefore, our unconscious mind makes this decision based on the data that it experiences. And the thing about reality is it's all subjective. In other words, you do not see the world in an objective way. You see it through the tinted glasses of experience, right? So if you go through good experiences, you've had a healthy upbringing and everything was good and great, you had wonderful models, everyone said that, look, of course you're worthy and deserving, and you believed it, you see that reality of I'm enough and therefore I don't need to self-sabotage. You just have everything you need. You have the beliefs, the resources, the feelings, the actions and reactions, the good habits, the associations. But on the same notion, if you went through those significant traumas or events, and they don't even have to be significant, by the way. Sometimes we think, well, it's got to be this huge event. No, it's because we were very, very young and we didn't have the ability to deal and digest it. It could have been one sentence that someone said, even in passing, that we took personally. Why? Because we are living in that subjective reality. And if you have now looking through the glasses of those significant events, those expectations, whether it be from our family or socially, whether it be through bad situations happening to us, being told certain things, even hurt physically or verbally or sexually, all of those things will allow us to then see the world through this reality of I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, all of those types of things. And therefore, we get our unconscious mind into a situation that goes, do you know what? I don't know what to do here. I better just self-sabotage. I'm not going to go for that promotion. I'm not going to go for that wonderful relationship. All of those things, you're going to get caught up in that story of what you think is possible, what you think is doable. So now we know all self-sabotage, the behavior in itself intentionally is good, despite the horrible behavior. It means that we then have to go, the belief creates it. How do I start to work on the belief systems that is creating the self-sabotage? And I was just saying, this is being broadcasted live on YouTube, by the way. I saw a quote, I think it's by Alex Hormozy, really cool entrepreneur, does good things in the world. And I saw him write, I believe, outwit your self-doubt. What does that mean? If you can outwork your fears and your self-doubt, and let's include self-sabotage here, if you outwork it when it comes to your belief systems, put the time in to be able to create new identities about what is possible about yourself. Have a stoic nature of understanding what that really is. Consider maybe that belief, knowing if you just know it consciously, to start to go, well, how can I dismantle that self-belief system that I'm not enough and worthy? Now, of course, you can use hypnotic processes because it works with the unconscious mind. It is a direct route there. Like I said, if you could click your fingers and let it go, you would. If you cannot, it must mean the unconscious mind is running this situation. Therefore, hypnosis is a gateway to transformation, is a gateway of letting it go. Now, that's why I've created tons of hypnosis sessions. Like, we've got over probably like 250 free ones on the app. We've got all the ones within the app as well, the custom ones, the day, the night, all of those kind of things, right? You can use hypnosis to be able to dismantle that belief. But even if you were to do it in a very conscious way, you've got to analyze, what is this about? Is this belief even mine? Was it something that I chose based on what I had, but I don't need that right now? I mean, why should we be running outgrown belief systems? Why should we carry on doing those things when they're not really even ours? Maybe that's because someone did something to us and we came to that conclusion. You see, self-reflection in doing the work, the outworking, sorry, I was going to say outwitting there, the outworking the self-sabotage, outwork your self-doubt. If you put the time and energy in really considering the person that you want to be and doing the action steps to get there, whether it be hiring a coach, whether it be listening to the hypnosis session, for some people it will be counseling, some will be psychotherapy, some people will be working out crazy amount, challenging themselves to be able to redefine what is possible. But when you start to outwork that self-doubt, when it comes in, you've got to make that decision, but it's a signal to go to work and do what has to be done. To realize it is, in a way, illusionary because it is subjective. Your beliefs about yourself are absolutely they are absolutely subjective, that's the word I was looking for, and therefore they are bendable. They are adjustable. They're not fixed in stone. You see, when people have the belief, which creates a self-sabotage of I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, I'm not good enough, they believe that that's who they are. Your beliefs are not your identity. They're something that you've acquired. So what I would do is consider, well, the goal that you have, and then think about when that actually starts to happen in your self-sabotage, and then think about how you identify with yourself to that situation, that goal, that dream. What is the version of you that believes, that creates self-sabotage? That's all we've got to really think about. What is that? And then you ask yourself, who do I need to become to achieve that? Because there's two different versions of you. In my program, I call it the 1.0 of you, or the 1.0 version of you, and then the 2.0. We have the present self, and we have the self that we're going to be. What do you need to become in order to be that person? What do you need to do? All those types of things. You got to dismantle the belief system. You've got to learn from your past unconsciously. We've got to use things like hypnosis, or get one-to-one help, or group support, or modules, programs, whatever it is. But you've got to understand who you are to be who you want to be, because there's going to be a gap there. And that's going to release the self-sabotage. Because let's just say, if you believed, let's say we're having a conversation. I have this when I speak to people sometimes. Say, look, I go ahead and see you in person in a few weeks' time. And I say to you, look, how are you right now? And if you said to me, with the greatest emphasis, the most self-certain that you've ever said anything in your life, you just said it with so much self-certainty, so much self-belief, so many feelings of absolutely this is the truth, and that truth is that I am enough, I am worthy, I am deserving. If you said that to me, based on the question that I asked. How are you doing right now? Joseph, I know I am worthy, deserving enough. And then I said, now think of that goal that you have. Think about that money that you want to earn. Think about the relationship. Well, now you're going to go, I'm worthy of that money. I'm deserving of a better and greater relationship because your value has gone up. So therefore, that one shift, and it's a huge shift in identity, but it will release all self-sabotage. So your goal is not to think about the anxiety or the fears or even the self-sabotage in itself. It is a signal to bring you back to your identity. I believe you should feel worthy. That's my belief. That's my subjective belief. That's my higher truth, or whatever you may call it. I believe that we should all feel worthy, deserving enough. Not on false merit, of course, but I think the nature of us, we should not have a low self-value. I believe if we had more self-belief in who we are, it will then allow us to go and do what had to be done. Because when you're worthy, deserving enough, guess what? You want to help more people in the world. You don't get more selfish or being a bad person, doing bad acts if you don't believe that you're worthy, deserving enough, because you come from a place that you want to be able to help those who need it most as well. So to me, my friend, you've got to think less about the self-sabotage. That is a consequence of identity. We know the positive intention, but it's a consequence of self-identity, and it's usually going to be things like, I am not fill in the blank. And then you've got to outwork all of that limiting belief, all of the self-sabotage. Just put the time, energy, and effort. I don't care if for you, let's say you're doing it by yourself. Invest 1 hour every single day to your self-development. If you say you cannot do that, I do think you may be tricking yourself with the story that that is the case. If you really, really wanted it, let's put it this way. Let's say you had a family and someone said, look, if you don't put 1 hour extra work into your development to know that you're worthy, deserving enough to let go of this self-sabotage, otherwise I'm taking your family away, you will go, I'm putting that extra 1 hour in every single day. Now, even if it was 30 minutes every single day, absolutely. You've got to give up things to become who you want to be. What things can you give up? Well, maybe it is not going out as often. Maybe it is social media. Maybe it's Netflix. We do so many things in the day which are nice. Don't get me wrong, those things can be nice, but they're not yielding the results that we want and are not as important when we really weigh up. If I could say, look, would you give up Netflix for a whole year if it meant that you are worthy, deserving enough to be able to then receive the abundance, the monetary gains from that belief system, or getting that promotion, or having the most profound relationship with someone? You would probably go, Netflix, gone. And you can change it for anything. But ultimately, we've got to get to the place of investing in ourselves, because you've got to outwork that self-doubt. You've got to outwork that self-sabotage and go all in who you want to become in every single way. So I hope you enjoyed this, because ultimately it is truth. In my opinion, it's truth. Let go of the limiting identity and you'll never self-sabotage, because you're just in the place of growth. You're going beyond that ego. You're going beyond that, the R brain, the primal brain, because you know that everything on the other side of that goal, that dream, that outcome is going to be truly beneficial, and therefore you don't need to self-sabotage or have any issues, symptoms around that whatsoever, because you'll be free of resistance and deeply aligned. Now, of course, if you personally wanted to work with me, and you're a professional, in other words, you're ready to put the time, the money to work with us, and I say us there because it is with my team, where it's custom and tailored to your needs to get you to a place of knowing you're worthy, deserving enough, and absolutely free of all fear, worries, and doubts, you can go ahead to josephclough.info/talk. Now, if we have space, there'll be some times available where you can book a time to speak with us. It's a one-to-one Zoom. You book a time, fill out an application form, and you attend the one-to-one breakthrough session. And we'll get clear on exactly what you want to let go of, exactly what you want to achieve, what's kind of getting in the way, and then come up with a personalized, customized, and tailored plan for your unconscious mind. I believe you've got to meet the issue where it lives, which is the unconscious, and that's all I work with. And that, plus working on the core issue and not the symptom. Therefore, you don't have to keep fighting and fighting and fighting again. So once again, that is josephclough.info/talk and book your call. With that, my friends, I look forward to speaking to you in a future episode, and have the most wonderful day. Do the work, outwit that self-sabotage by going all in building your identity to one that will allow you to be successful in every single way. With that, I'll speak to you soon. Many thanks and goodbye.